One of the most popular questions we've had at Ag PhD over the last really year and a half now has been, hey, can I cut the traits out of my corn program? Do I really need them anymore?
Wow, I just think back to before we had any of these traits, and we were fighting rootworms, we were fighting corn borers, we had poor weed control situations, especially with things like woolly cupgrass and field sandbur and different problem grasses depending on where you're at in the country. And all I remember hearing back when we had $1.75, $2 corn is guys saying, man, we really need to have corn that's resistant to Roundup. We really need to have some kind of trait to stop these bugs because I just can't get the timing right. And if I forget to get insecticide out there for my rootworms, I have no rescue treatment. And wow, there were all these problems. Now we have the trait. We have corn that's worth twice as much as it used to be worth. And now we don't want the traits anymore because they're too expensive. It doesn't make sense
yeah,
to me.
We don't want the traits. That's not true. We want the traits. We just want the traits at a good price. So our number one recommendation to you is negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. Try to get the traits as reasonably priced as you can. And if you can do that, it's awesome. We love the traits. And like Darren said, on both the weed control and the insect control side, we want to have them if possible. But let's say that you can't get them bought at a reasonable price. Let's start first with, okay, I'm going to go away from Roundup, so I'm going to go to conventional corn. Let's talk about the weed control program there. It's whole different than the weed control program in a Roundup system, because remember, Roundup was your rescue on grass. So if you didn't do a perfect job on grass, then hey, no big deal, I'll just clean it up with Roundup. Well, it's just like we were talking about a minute ago. The number one problem in conventional corn is the same as in Milo, because in effect they're very similar things. Can't use Roundup post-emerge. Well, the number one weed issue, grass. Number two weed issue, grass. Number three weed issue, grass. So what do you think we're going to recommend? It's a full rate of a standard product like Dual, Outlook, Harness, Surpass, a straight true grass killer. I don't want you using Sure Start, Triple Flex, any of these other things. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're fine, but you'd have to spike them up with more straight Group 15 so we can get a full rate of that Group 15. We want maximum grass control pre, because here's the problem. If you don't have Roundup to clean up your grass post-emerge, you know what your only option is? Accent. And that's going to cost you 25 bucks an acre by the time you figure the adjuvants in, and I know you don't want to spend 25 bucks an acre. So invest a few more dollars in a good pre, and then you should be in good shape there.
Well, and if you don't think you really need it, you say, oh, there really isn't grass pressure out there. You know what? Leave one strip where you don't put your grass herbicide on, or leave a strip where you only put a half rate on. You're going to notice a difference. The other thing that you're going to notice is how good these pre-emerge products like a Harness or Surpass are on small-seeded broadleafs. At a full rate, they actually do a pretty nice job on lamb's quarters and even on pigweeds. And if we can wipe out most of those problem weeds, you aren't really giving up anything. And I hear guys say, I don't want to give up my Triple Flex or my Sure Start or even that low rate of Verdict that I'm using. I think you have to use one product or the other. Go with the full rate grass product.
Yeah, use the full rate grass product. You've got plenty of rescue options. There's Status, you've got all the HPPDs, you got Buctril and Atrazine, you got all kinds of options for broadleaves. You just don't have the post-grass options.
Well, here's the other thing.
Let's talk about the...
Hold on. Here's the other thing. In crop, we've had so many guys that have done this and started with this program. They come back with a full rate of a residual type post-emerge product, like say a full rate of Alatus or Callisto Impact plus a half pound of atrazine. They say, wow, I'm actually getting better broadleaf control than I was getting with my Roundup back when it was working. Now, it's not like you're going to burn down 4-foot tall weeds or something like some guys would do with Roundup, but you're also going to get some residual out of those products. With the Roundup program, we've been using a lot of cut rates, and we really kind of forgot how good some of these products are.
Okay, we got to get to the insect thing really quick. If you're not going to use the rootworm trait, we strongly encourage you, if you're in a corn-on-corn situation, use a full rate of insecticide. In a corn-soybean rotation, consider at least a half rate of insecticide. And again, do some side-by-sides or something. Rootworm's a killer. You don't want that. For corn borer, spray early. We've got plenty of options for corn borer, but you got to spray early. You got to be ahead.
And you're right. We can get after that first-generation corn borer. The problem is, in much of the country, we're going to see a second generation come, and it's very difficult to time that right. You often have to get the aerial applicator to come in and hope for 50 or 60% control. So it's not nearly as good as the trait, but you have to do the best you can.
So again, our recommendation is keep using the traits, just try to get them at a lower price. If that's not possible and you want to switch to conventional corn, use a full rate of a grass killer. If you're going to skip the rootworm trait, use a full rate of an insecticide, a good one in a corn-on-corn situation, or a reduced rate in a corn-soybean rotation. And then for corn borer, try to time it right. Insecticides foliar are very inexpensive.
If you're cutting back on traits or switching your trait package, you still have to control our Weed of the Week. We'll show you how right after this.